I'm Jason Carter. Physical optimization defines my life. The day I was born, doctors nearly killed me with medical malpractice. They said I'd never walk. I've been proving them wrong for 35 years. It's easier than you think to obtain super optimal health. I've devoted my life to it, and with my help, you can too. I'm Jason Carter, and this is ENZYMENTAL. And welcome to ENZYMENTAL. I'm Jason Carter, and today I thought I'd give you guys some supplements and natural herbs and remedies you can use to rebuild and support the adrenals. We've already talked about vitamin C and pantothenic acid, or vitamin B5, for rebuilding and supporting the adrenals. Those are two universal nutrients that just about every health food store in the world will carry, so I like to start with those two because they are essential to the adrenals. But also there are plenty of other natural minerals and herbs and such that you can take for rebuilding the adrenals. And in later videos we're going to get into the stages of adrenal fatigue and get a lot more deeper into what exactly adrenal fatigue does to the body. But I don't want to overlook giving you guys things you can take to support and rebuild your adrenals at the same time. So in addition to vitamin C and pantothenic acid, something else you can take that's really critical for proper adrenal function and many other things in the body is magnesium. And as we know, magnesium is actually the fourth most abundant mineral in the human body. So in one of its countless important roles in the body, magnesium helps to transport calcium into and out of the cells. So part of the stress response when you encounter stress in your life involves calcium entering neurons in the brain, which causes the neurons to fire. So if there isn't sufficient magnesium to move calcium out of the cell, neurons become overloaded with calcium and fire too frequently and eventually wear out and die. So magnesium can also suppress the release of stress hormones from the adrenal glands and may prevent the adrenal hormones from penetrating the blood-brain barrier. And unfortunately, magnesium, like your B vitamins and your vitamin C, is another nutrient that is rapidly depleted during times of stress. So you really should be taking magnesium for many things throughout the day, but certainly for proper adrenal function. Licorice root is an herb that is especially important for maintaining healthy cortisol levels in just about anyone, but especially those of us who have adrenal exhaustion. It contains glycerin, which gets converted into glycerinetic acid in the intestines. Glycerinetic acid inhibits the body's breakdown of cortisol by blocking the activity of the enzyme that normally inactivates cortisol. So in a sense, licorice root and its active component glycerinetic acid acts like cortisol. There is a form of licorice root called deglycerinated licorice, or DGL. It's usually used for digestive health and soothing the stomach, but you really want to look for a licorice root that is not DGL because you want that glycerin in there. At the same time, large amounts of non-deglycerinated licorice, just traditional licorice root, may possibly increase blood pressure, which tends to be low in people with adrenal exhaustion. So as you start recovering from your adrenal exhaustion and taking some of these herbs, you should likely notice fewer episodes of dizziness. But if you deal with high blood pressure, you do want to watch out for traditional licorice because it can spike your blood pressures. Rhodiola is another herb that can really help the adrenals. That's an adaptogen, or just a class of herbs that helps the body respond to stress and kind of bring the central nervous system into balance with where it should be during your day. Rhodiola really helps to improve adrenal function and also help with stress-related fatigue. It comes in a variety of forms, like most herbs do, liquid and capsules and such. The one thing I'll say about rhodiola is that if you get it in a liquid form, it's extremely dry. It has like a black cherry, choke cherry taste to it. It doesn't taste too bad, but it's extremely dry. Think of it like the driest, dry red wine you've ever had. So make sure you drink plenty of water with it, whether you're taking it in liquid or capsules. Eleuthero is sometimes referred to as Siberian ginseng. That's another adaptogenic herb that really supports the adrenals and helps to compensate for excessively stressful times, and it works well with rhodiola, so you can definitely take them together, and so does ashwagandha. This herb is known as Indian Indian ginseng, and it's revered throughout history for its use in Ayurvedic medicine. We'll talk more about Ayurvedic medicine in another video, but known as Indian ginseng, ashwagandha can be helpful to people with fatigue from chronic stress. It can help you sleep if taken like about midday to early evening, so it has a mild relaxing effect. And so it's beneficial to anyone, but especially those of us who are really on the go all the time and we just can't seem to slow down and relax. And typically people known as type A personalities. It's very helpful for them. There are supplements containing adrenal cortex extract, and these are supplements containing minute amounts of adrenal hormones, usually animal sourced, from cows or pigs, and are relatively safe as compared to prescription glucocorticoid drugs, which are much stronger. Still, I'm not really a fan of adrenal cortex extract. I think you could rebuild the adrenals just fine by way of herbs and some associated minerals. And as we've talked about before, maintaining blood sugar balance is essential to rebuilding the adrenals. So, in other words, poor eating habits will also contribute to adrenal burnout. And specifically, I'm referring to what we call the standard American diet. Foods high in refined sugars and carbohydrates obviously do not supply the vitamins needed to support adrenal hormone production. So sugary foods will quickly increase blood sugar levels, offsetting periods of hypoglycemia or low blood sugar, which is often associated with adrenal exhaustion. But over the long term, these foods will aggravate both adrenal problems and exponentially increase the risk of type 2 diabetes, which is the form of diabetes, of course, that sets in from a very sedentary lifestyle and too much high sugar, refined carbohydrates. And as I've discussed with you before, typically when your blood sugar is low and chronically low, you tend to crave these high sugar, easily digestible refined carbs because all your body is looking to do is raise the blood sugar when the blood sugar is excessively low. Your body knows it's easier to digest a simple carb than it is some protein, fat, or fiber, or a combination of all three of those. So even though you're craving those simple carbs, it would be much better if you could eat something more substantial like, again, protein, fat, or fiber. And again, as I've said many times before, fiber is raw vegetables and fruit, not bread and pasta. Also, one thing you tend to notice when you have adrenal exhaustion is you tend to crave salty foods quite often. And this is your kidney's way of telling you that you need to put more minerals in your bloodstream. So when you start craving salt and salty foods, instead of reaching for that bag of salted chips over there, it would be much better if you just put some sea salt in some water and drank it. And that should really help out with replenishing your salt-based minerals, which are quickly depleted when you're under stress and your adrenals are stressed out. So combined with a lot of these things that I've talked about with you before, as far as maintaining blood sugar balance and doing what you can to de-stress your life, some of these core supplements can really help out. There are plenty of herbal adrenal blends that have many of these herbs and many other ones that work synergistically, and that might actually give you a better response. When you begin supporting your adrenals, one way that you know your adrenals are performing optimally is if you notice that you are no longer bothered by stress, or that what was stressing you before, it may still be there, and it likely still is there, but it doesn't irritate you or agitate you as much as it did before when your adrenals were under stress. That's a good sign to look for to know that your adrenals are functioning optimally. I've said that to you before, but it does bear repeating because it's something that just most people just don't have, because we all have some form of adrenal exhaustion today. So take some of these herbs and supplements, and that'll also help to maintain adrenal balance, but at the same time, don't forget to keep your blood sugar stable too. Thanks for watching. I'm Jason Carter, and I'll see you next time on ENZYMENTAL. Stay healthy.